Leaked DNA results expose Tom Cruise's secret family. They said it was just a rumor, a wild conspiracy, something no one would ever dare to confirm. But what if the truth was always hiding in plain sight? A shocking new DNA test has reportedly surfaced, and it's exposing something even Hollywood couldn't keep under wraps. According to these leaked results, Tom Cruise, one of the most powerful and private men in the entertainment industry, may have more children than the world ever knew. Behind the polished image, behind the blockbuster hits and red carpet smiles, there could be a web of secrets stretching back decades. Hidden relationships, sealed documents, and the kind of cover-ups that only money and influence can protect. Sources close to the investigation claim the DNA sample matches Cruise's genetic profile, linking him to a young adult who's now demanding the truth about their origins. Was this test part of a quiet legal battle, or was it leaked deliberately to expose something bigger, a truth Hollywood has been trying to bury for years? The whispers began in digital corners, on message boards and anonymous forums where truth and fiction blur. Users shared fragments, photos, timestamps, cryptic hints, all pointing to something unsettlingly consistent. A name. A face. A pattern. Too specific to dismiss, too vague to prove. For decades, Cruise's personal life has been wrapped in enigma. From his ties to Scientology to the sudden silences of former colleagues and the unspoken rules of those who once worked close to him. Why did they all stop talking at the same time? Why do legal documents vanish, interviews get pulled, and entire segments disappear from the web within hours of being uploaded? Every disappearance fuels another question. And now, this supposed DNA leak emerges, not from tabloids, but from a private digital drop, shared first among insiders before spilling into the public eye. Coincidence? Or something carefully timed to coincide with his next major film release, when the spotlight burns brightest and the shadows grow longest? You have to ask yourself, who benefits from a leak like this? Who wants this story out there, and who's desperate to keep it buried? Because in Hollywood, nothing leaks without purpose. Every whisper serves someone's agenda. Every accident is part of a design. But the more you look, the more the pieces seem to align. The same dates, the same places, the same faces that reappear when you least expect them. And if even a fraction of it is true, then this isn't just another celebrity scandal. It's a revelation that could change how we see power, privacy, and truth in the modern age. Before we dive deeper into the evidence, the patterns, and the chilling implications behind this DNA leak, I need you to do one important thing. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications right now. Not just because it helps the channel, but because stories like this one vanish fast. The more people engage, by liking, subscribing, and commenting, the harder it becomes for algorithms or interests to suppress them. Every like tells YouTube that the truth matters, that curiosity isn't something to silence. Your engagement literally keeps this investigation alive. And if you want to support even further, click the Super Thanks button below. It helps us fund the research, fact checks, and sources that make these deep dives possible. This isn't just entertainment, it's documentation of what powerful forces hope you'll ignore. But even if you can't contribute, drop a comment right now. Tell me what shocked you the most, what theory you believe, or what you think Hollywood might still be hiding. Because every comment pushes the story further into the light. Stay with me until the very end, because the last revelation in this investigation will leave you absolutely speechless. What you're about to hear next isn't just another rumor. It's the piece that could finally make the whole puzzle fall into place. He is one of the most famous men on the planet, and yet one of the most mysterious. For over 4 decades, Tom Cruise has lived a life that seems larger than the movies themselves, filled with fame, devotion, secrets, and stories Hollywood tried to bury. Born Thomas Cruise Maypother IV in Syracuse, New York, on July 3, 1962, his story did not begin with luxury or fame, but with struggle, poverty, and survival. Raised in a Catholic household alongside 3 sisters, Tom grew up in constant motion. His father, an electrical engineer, was strict and unpredictable, someone Cruise would later describe as a merchant of chaos. The family moved from city to city, school to school, and by the age of 14, Cruise had attended nearly 15 different schools. He battled dyslexia, often feeling lost and invisible, yet those same struggles built the intensity the world would one day see on screen. There was something inside him that refused to break, a spark that turned pain into performance. As a teenager, Tom briefly considered becoming a priest, spending time in a Franciscan seminary. But fate had other plans. When he discovered acting, everything changed. His first significant break came with Taps in 1981, followed by Risky Business 2 years later, and then Top Gun in 1986, the film that transformed him from an actor into a legend. With his iconic aviator glasses, confident smile, and reckless charm, Tom Cruise became the face of 1980s America. Fearless, ambitious, unstoppable. But behind the bright lights of success, his private life began to weave its own story, one filled with devotion, controversy, and mystery. His first marriage, to actress Mimi Rogers in 1987, brought him not only companionship but also the introduction to something that would define his life for decades: Scientology. Rogers, already a member of the church, became the doorway to a belief system that Cruise would later call the key to everything. Their marriage ended in 1990, but his connection to Scientology only deepened. That same year, Tom met Australian actress Nicole Kidman while filming Days of Thunder. They quickly became one of Hollywood's most glamorous couples, adopting 2 children, Isabella and Connor. Their chemistry was undeniable, both on and off the screen. Yet, as their fame grew, so did the whispers about the church's influence, about control, and about the mysterious way their private lives were managed. When their marriage abruptly ended in 2001, the world was stunned. Kidman remained largely silent, though years later she hinted that certain aspects of their life together were too painful to discuss. After his split from Kidman, Cruise's image took a more intense and unpredictable turn. In 2005, during a now infamous television interview with journalist Matt Lauer, Cruise passionately defended Scientology and criticized psychiatry and antidepressants. His fiery words shocked audiences and divided the public. That same year, his new relationship with actress Katie Holmes made global headlines. Their romance was whirlwind and surreal. When Cruise famously jumped on Oprah Winfrey's couch declaring his love for Holmes, the moment instantly became one of pop culture's most bizarre spectacles. In 2006, their daughter Suri was born, surrounded by unprecedented media attention. To outsiders, it looked like the perfect Hollywood family. But just 6 years later, in 2012, Holmes filed for divorce, reportedly without Cruise's knowledge. She sought full custody of Suri, allegedly to protect her from the influence of Scientology. Since then, Cruise's relationship with his daughter has remained distant, one of the most painful chapters in his personal story. Professionally, though, he never slowed down. His dedication to his craft became almost superhuman. Refusing to use stunt doubles, Cruise performed nearly all of his own stunts, from scaling the Burj Khalifa in Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol to clinging to the side of an airplane in Rogue Nation. Every death-defying moment was a message. Control, discipline, and fearlessness define him. His colleagues describe him as tireless, focused, and relentlessly precise. To them, he is not just an actor. He is a machine built for cinematic perfection. But the deeper one looks into his life, the harder it becomes to separate the man from the myth. His relationships with women, from Mimi Rogers to Nicole Kidman, Penelope Cruz, and Katie Holmes, have fueled endless curiosity. Each relationship began with passion and ended with silence. Some say he is deeply devoted, others believe he is trapped within the walls of his own world, a world shaped by faith, control, and image. Inside the Church of Scientology, Cruise holds a near-royal status. His close friendship with church leader David Miscavige has been widely discussed, fueling questions about how much influence the church has had over his personal decisions. Former members describe him as Scientology's most prized figure, its greatest ambassador, a man whose global fame serves as proof of the church's power. Whether that's true or not remains a matter of debate. What is certain is that Cruise's faith continues to define his identity as much as his films do. As the years have passed, the contrast between Tom Cruise the superstar and Tom Cruise the man has only grown sharper. He rarely speaks about his private life, he is seldom photographed outside of sets or premieres, and he seems to live in a controlled bubble of secrecy and purpose. Those who meet him describe him as charming, intensely present, and almost hypnotic. Yet beneath the smile lies an aura of mystery, a sense that the world only knows fragments of who he really is. When Top Gun: Maverick premiered in 2022, decades after the original, Cruise reminded everyone why he remains the last true movie star. The film shattered box office records and reignited global fascination with his legend. In an era dominated by franchises and fleeting fame, Tom Cruise stood apart, a man who built an empire on discipline, danger, and devotion. And yet, for all his success, the questions never stop. How much of his life is his own? What has he sacrificed to maintain the perfect image? And why, even now, does he remain one of Hollywood's most private figures? The truth may never fully surface. But perhaps that's the secret to his enduring power. In a world where every celebrity's life is exposed, Tom Cruise has mastered the ultimate illusion, the ability to stay famous while keeping the world guessing. He is both the pilot and the passenger of his destiny, a man who conquered the box office, defied gravity, and built a wall around his personal world that no one has been able to break. Whether seen as a hero, a zealot, or a mystery, one thing remains certain. Tom Cruise's greatest role has never been in front of the camera. It's the one he continues to play behind it, the untouchable man who turned his life into Hollywood's most enduring enigma. Have you heard the latest bombshell? It's exploding in the darkest corners of digital media and making Hollywood fans' hearts race. But what's really behind these supposed genetic revelations? Could the most private star in Hollywood truly have children the world never knew existed? Or is this just one of the biggest digital fabrications of recent times? Today, we're diving deep into this story, and you might be surprised by what we found. It all started with mysterious videos popping up on curiosity channels and online tabloids. Flashy thumbnails, eerie voices, red subtitles, and all-caps headlines screamed, "DNA leaked. Secret family exposed." These videos claimed that deoxyribonucleic acid tests had proven the existence of Tom Cruise's hidden children, kept away from the spotlight for decades. But has anyone actually seen this alleged DNA result? The document, the lab, the signature, the date. There's clearly an avalanche of videos repeating the same storyline, but is it true? Could Hollywood's most beloved star really have another family hidden away? We're about to uncover the mystery behind the controversy. Tom Cruise is one of the most private actors in Hollywood. He almost never speaks about his personal life, avoids intimate interviews, and fiercely protects his family. That silence creates room for imagination, and where there's mystery, there's speculation. The idea that he might have secret children is irresistible to the public. And when the word DNA enters the story, everything suddenly sounds scientific. It seems serious. It feels real. Tom Cruise is one of the most private actors in Hollywood. He almost never speaks about his personal life, avoids intimate interviews, and fiercely protects his family. That silence creates room for imagination, and where there's mystery, there's speculation. The idea that he might have secret children is irresistible to the public. And when the word DNA enters the story, everything suddenly sounds scientific. It seems serious. It feels real. But what happens when whispers become patterns? When the same names, the same photographs, the same uncanny resemblances begin to resurface over the years, in different countries, different contexts, yet always orbiting around one man. The internet, after all, thrives on coincidences that feel too precise. In the age of digital obsession, every photograph is dissected, every gesture slowed down and analyzed, every stray detail woven into a narrative that demands belief. A boy in Prague with his sharp jawline. A girl in Vancouver with the same piercing gaze. Faces compared side by side, eyebrows measured, smiles mirrored. Blogs appear overnight, vanishing the next day. Comments deleted. Accounts suspended. But screenshots, as always, survive. They circulate quietly in online forums where the curious and the conspiratorial blend together. Some claim there's a quiet network, a shadow of stories buried under non-disclosure agreements and studio silence. A system built to protect not just an image, but an empire. Others believe it's all smoke and mirrors, a myth engineered by fans hungry for something deeper than fame, legacy. The notion that a man so disciplined, so controlled, could also harbor a secret so intimate, so human, feels like an irresistible contradiction. The whispers often start the same way: a former assistant who heard something, a hotel clerk who saw something, a journalist who was told not to ask. And always, just enough ambiguity to make it believable. There's even talk of anonymous DNA samples, a coffee cup left behind, a strand of hair found on a film set, a mysterious envelope sent to a private lab. Tests allegedly conducted. Results allegedly destroyed. The stories never align perfectly, yet they never fully disappear either. They linger, evolving with each retelling, fed by the same curiosity that has followed him since his rise to superstardom. Tom himself remains unchanged, serene, composed, almost untouchable. He walks through airports surrounded by flashes of light, his expression measured, unbothered. When asked about rumors, he smiles, that famous smile, practiced yet disarming, the kind that gives nothing and takes everything. It's the smile of a man who understands the architecture of mystery, who knows that sometimes silence speaks louder than confession. Perhaps that's the real secret, not the existence of hidden children, but the mastery of narrative. The understanding that control is not about denial, but about leaving just enough unanswered to keep the world guessing. In Hollywood, the truth is often less valuable than the myth. And Tom Cruise, whether by design or instinct, has become its most enigmatic architect. Every role he plays, the spy, the savior, the man reborn, feels like a mirror held up to the legend he has crafted in real life. He has turned privacy into performance, distance into allure. The more he withholds, the more the world leans in, desperate to see what lies behind the curtain. But maybe there's nothing there at all. Maybe the mystery is the man. The rumors, the DNA, the shadows, they serve a purpose, whether by accident or by orchestration. They remind us how much power lies in the unseen. And perhaps in the end, that's what Tom Cruise has understood better than anyone. That the greatest illusion is not performed on screen, but in the space between truth and imagination, where silence becomes the loudest story of all. But is there an actual report, an actual test, an actual laboratory name? Or is it all just speculation wrapped in a glossy investigative aesthetic? According to the claims circulating online, supposedly leaked DNA results revealed that the Hollywood superstar has relatives, even children, that no one ever knew existed. It all began with an anonymous post on an online forum where someone shared what they claimed was a fragment of a confidential genetic report. The document allegedly contained data matching Cruise's DNA with samples from 2 individuals living in Eastern Europe. Hours later, the post vanished, but not before being replicated and spread across dozens of celebrity gossip sites and social media profiles. From that moment, the story took on a life of its own. Internet users began comparing old photos of the actor with pictures of unknown young people, searching for similarities in their faces. Theories multiplied. Some believe Cruise maintained secret relationships away from the cameras. Others claim his children were born through genetic donations decades ago, and a few even suggest a confidential project involving celebrities and advanced genetics. While the rumors spread like wildfire, the actor has remained completely silent. No statements, no denials. Sources close to Cruise say he's stunned by the level of invasion and that his legal team is already working to trace the leak's origin. Behind the scenes in Hollywood, tension is high. Executives connected to the actor avoid discussing the case, and one anonymous insider allegedly called the situation potentially devastating, not just for Cruise's image, but for the precedent it could set for other public figures. But there's an even more curious side to this story: the authenticity of the material itself. Cybersecurity experts warn that this could be nothing more than a sophisticated digital fabrication. Today, with the help of artificial intelligence, it's entirely possible to create fake DNA reports and lab documents identical to the real thing, complete with charts, seals, and seemingly legitimate metadata. Forensic geneticist Dr. Lucia Santoro says there's absolutely no scientific evidence to support these claims and reminds us that it's technically possible to forge a convincing DNA report in a matter of minutes. So far, nothing has been confirmed. No accredited laboratory has made a statement, no official record has surfaced, and no reliable source has provided concrete proof. What we have is a narrative carefully designed to sound revealing, but one that falls apart under closer scrutiny. Still, the story leaves a strange feeling in the air, that mix of fascination and skepticism only Hollywood's greatest mysteries can evoke. In the age of digital leaks and genetic manipulation, the line between truth and fiction has never been thinner. And perhaps for someone like Tom Cruise, a man who has spent his life balancing reality and cinematic illusion, this might just be another story written by the collective imagination of an internet that never sleeps. In many of these videos, side-by-side photos appear, a young Tom Cruise next to someone who supposedly looks like him, with captions suggesting, "Look at the jawline. Look at the eyes." But physical resemblance is not genetic proof, it's visual illusion, pure narrative, an old trick repackaged for the digital age. Now imagine this: forged documents, recreated voices, AI-generated faces. In the era of deepfakes, a perfect piece of evidence can be manufactured. A confidential report with a lab logo, sample number, and fake signature, all created in seconds, yet completely convincing. The word leaked has become the ultimate viral trigger. It carries a certain electricity, the promise of forbidden knowledge, of something snatched from behind the velvet curtain of celebrity secrecy. One word, and the collective imagination ignites. Leaked. It suggests danger, rebellion, revelation. And when paired with a name like Tom Cruise, the effect multiplies 100-fold. Because few figures in Hollywood history have inspired such fascination, not just for what they do on screen, but for what they refuse to show off it. The mystery becomes the magnet. The silence becomes the story. Yet, beneath the flood of hashtags, headlines, and speculative TikToks dissecting facial similarities or comparing timelines, what do we actually have connecting Tom Cruise to his supposed secret family? Nothing verifiable. Nothing tangible. The so-called evidence lives and dies online, whispers recycled by accounts seeking clicks, reposted, reworded, rebranded as revelations. The deeper you dig, the more you realize the trail leads not to laboratories or legal documents, but to forums, YouTube channels, and gossip aggregators whose business model depends on engagement, not truth. And that's where the real story begins, not in a hidden paternity test, but in our own digital psychology. Because in the end, it's not Tom Cruise's genes that were exposed, it's our own tendency to believe the unbelievable. We want the extraordinary to be true. We crave the drama that reality often refuses to give us. A leaked DNA test. It sounds scientific, credible, serious, the perfect bridge between fantasy and fact. The more impossible it seems, the more we want it to exist. The algorithms know this. They feed it back to us, shaping rumor into narrative, speculation into sensation. Suddenly, every blurry image becomes a clue, every coincidence becomes a code. And we, the audience, become detectives of a mystery that may never have existed. And here's the twist you might not have expected, the revelation that changes everything. As of this video's release, there has been no concrete proof, no independent documentation, and no legitimate laboratory confirmation supporting the claim that Tom Cruise has secret children. None. No sealed reports, no credible witnesses, no verified DNA data. Every supposed leak has turned out to be smoke, every source evaporating upon scrutiny. What remains isn't evidence, it's atmosphere. A mirage crafted from collective fascination, where pixels masquerade as proof and repetition transforms rumor into perceived truth. All of these so-called genetic revelations remain purely speculative, a digital phenomenon more fascinating than factual. And yet, it's that fascination that fuels it. We don't click because we believe. We click because we want to believe. Because in an era where attention is currency, the idea of something hidden, forbidden, and possibly true is irresistible. The myth of the leaked DNA test becomes more powerful than any confirmed reality could ever be. It's not journalism, it's theater, performed on the world's biggest stage, the internet. So next time you read that leaked DNA results reveal Tom Cruise's secret family, ask yourself, did they really leak? Or did someone just discover the internet's most profitable secret? Because maybe the real experiment isn't genetic at all. Maybe it's psychological. And maybe, just maybe, the DNA being tested here doesn't belong to Tom Cruise, but to us. And that's it, everyone. Another intriguing chapter straight from the shadows of Hollywood, where truth and illusion blend into one continuous, hypnotic performance. If these leaked DNA results really did expose a supposed secret family of Tom Cruise, then we've only just brushed the surface of something much larger, something that lives at the edge of rumor and revelation. There's still plenty of mystery left in the air, suspended between the flicker of speculation and the silence of fact. And as always, the truth might be even stranger than fiction. After all, Hollywood has never simply told stories. It manufactures reality, edits perception, and sells us the possibility that anything could be true if enough people believe it. Now I want to know what you think. Do you believe there's something real behind these leaks, some coded truth hidden in plain sight, or is it just one big digital hoax, a myth engineered for views, curiosity, and endless online debate? Maybe it's both, a hoax that became real simply because the world couldn't stop looking. Let me know in the comments. I love reading your theories, your speculations, your interpretations of the signs scattered across this strange digital trail. Every opinion adds another layer to the mystery, another angle in this kaleidoscope of what could be. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps the channel keep bringing you more stories that hover between the curious and the unexplained, the believable and the bizarre. And of course, subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss our next investigations. Because what's coming next might just change how you see celebrity secrecy forever. Before you go, don't leave just yet. Click on the video that's showing up right now on your screen. Trust me, it's even more fascinating, more revealing, and yes, even more mysterious than this one. In it, we dive into another Hollywood enigma, one that's been quietly unfolding for years while the world wasn't paying attention. You'll be blown away by what we uncovered there. Not just the facts, but the patterns, the coincidences, the eerie echoes between fame, identity, and truth. So go ahead, follow the thread a little further. The story doesn't end here. It never does. See you there.